yeah, Vanita. Is that right? Great. Thank you. I'll hand it over to you guys.
Kia ora koutou. My name's Tania Thomas and I'm the president of the Otahuhu Rugby Club, Rotary Club. And I'm the AG and AG elect, and I'm just going to shoot up our presentation from the three of us on the screen.
You're obviously anticipating a Blues win, Tania.
Oh, look, I was at rugby yesterday. Sorry, let me just get into my... Oh, for goodness sake. This is... Sorry, folks. Hello, here we are. So the first part is the President-elect governance checklist, and
we can't actually see the PowerPoint. You can see your email to me though, or can everyone else see the PowerPoint?
Email.
Oh, okay. I've got it up in front of me, but
you have to share your screen. You've shared it without my email.
That it?
No, stop sharing. Stop
Yes.
sharing, Tanya, and then reshare, and make sure you pick your PowerPoint.
Oh dear.
That's all right. That's all right.
Yeah. Kate Paitena.
So when you go share, make sure you share the PowerPoint, not your email.
That it? Oh God.
Yes, that's it.
Yes.
Oh yay. Oh well, I've wasted another 2 minutes. Okay, does have to be speedy. What I thought, this is aimed at president-elects, all right? And one of the things that I found when I became president-elect was how overwhelming it seemed in terms of the responsibilities for a president. And I wanted to make sure that president-elects know what an amazing privilege and opportunity it is to become a president. And these photos are a snapshot of my last year as president. And I couldn't do this job without the support of the members in my club. Delegation is something that you learn pretty quickly because there's so much to do, and you've got to get around you a great team, and you've got to not be shy about asking people to step up to the plate and do their share. I got to meet different club members from different districts. I got to meet different clubs from, internationally. I got to try some skills I'd not tried before. I thought that I knew a lot already because I'm the CEO of a very large organisation. I've been in leadership for many, many years, about 35, 40 years, and I'm a bit long in the tooth. And being president of a Rotary Club has given me a new lease on life in terms of how to try different things and how to work differently with teams. So for me, this was one of those aha moments that I wanted to make sure that people saw. So I'm going to move away from all the good things and all the fun things and show, if only I could move to the next slide. Right. Help somebody. How do I get it to move to the next slide?
Page down.
Page down.
Uh-huh. Yeah, thank you. I was paging right. So I think there's so much information on how to do this role and what's important in this role. There's lots of places to get information, but for me, this set of bullet points here is that the top one is that members of the club need to feel valued and inspired and able to connect with each other easily. You need to run your club and your board meetings well. Be prepared. You need to make sure you've got committee chairs and members of those committees, because they're the ones that share the load. They're the ones that help you get this work done. And it's a way of everyone using their strengths and their skills to participate and be involved in the club. You need to know how to run a club assembly. You need to be able to create a budget and manage finances, and that means an annual audit. So it means you have to attract people into your club that have these kinds of skills and expertise. You have to develop a safe environment for youth participants, and you have to work alongside your DG and your AG. So for me, those are the sorts of things that are the key workings and things that you need to do as a president. But as I said, you can't do it alone. You've got to do it with help. And the most important thing is giving people a sense of belonging and letting people be themselves and being able to accommodate the varying needs and different backgrounds of the people that may be in your club. So at this point, I just want to open it up for discussion, around, how are you going to prepare for the role as you're coming into it? How are you going to motivate and inspire people? How are you going to ensure members feel valued? How will you develop your club? And where will you get your support? So for me, those are the key sorts of things you need to be asking yourself. And as I look around who's actually on this video seminar, there's an awful lot of wealth of experience. For those of you who are on the call who are president-elects, this is an opportunity for you to ask and to not be shy, because there's an awful lot of people here who have huge amounts of experience and background. So I'll just see, are there any questions?
No questions on the chat as yet. If anybody would like to make any comments or questions, feel free to push the raised hand button.
I know there's a lot of experienced presidents on the session at the moment. If anyone would like to share some of those experiences of preparing for the role or motivating, any of those really good questions that Tanya's put up there would be really helpful to share.
Tanya, I think you raised an important point that you don't have to do the work all yourself. Work from the club membership back up, not from the president back down, and you'll get some fantastic results.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, given that there was a fair amount of time tutoring around in the beginning getting this presentation ready, I don't want to take valuable time from other members of my team, or of our team. So I'm going to move over to Vanita. And Vanita, you'll need to let me know when you want me to move the slides, okay?
Yes, I'll do that. Thank you. Thank you, Tanya. Right, so my session will actually concentrate on preparing you for the year and planning how you will actually look at your membership in the year. If I can see if you can move to slide number 6, please, Tanya. Yes. So it's how will you grow Rotary? How will your members impact Rotary and grow? And hence, how will you actually grow the engagement of your club? So we will look specifically at the membership of your club. Your membership is a critical component if it is not the main component of Rotary. With your members, we want to see Rotary grow. We want to grow into a vibrant club. Every club membership in your club counts. So we need to be able to see how we can grow that. Tanya, can we go to the next slide, please? So I just wanted to ask the president-elects and the membership directors to maybe now start looking at, if you have not been doing it already, is evaluate your club membership. I think that would be a starting point, because you would need to know where you are with your club and your membership and what your club culture is. So if you start to look at your club membership, how many members there are, how many active members there are, and how involved is your membership in helping your club grow. I think that would be a starting point. My session today is really to give you sort of a strategic look into your club and then to try and move it forward. So after you have evaluated your current membership, you may want to develop a membership plan. That is, I would recommend, having been a past president, having worked with past presidents of my club and other clubs in Fiji, I think you need a lot of engagement from your board, from your past presidents, and any senior Rotarians you have in your club. So you need to sit down and think about a plan as to where you want your club to go. So have a look at where it is now. Is it in the right place? If it is not, how do you want it to move in the direction that you'd like it to move and grow your membership and get more engagement from your members? To do that, maybe, there have been in previous PETs we have seen where there have been suggestions that maybe you would like to do a survey. Some sub-clubs like to do that, some clubs don't. It really depends and whether your club membership would be comfortable in engaging in a survey. But if you do, then this is a good way to look at it, a good way to see where they are, what they want from you, what are the expectations from you as the club president, and where they would like to see the club go. So I would actually urge you to do a survey. It may be uncomfortable, it may not bring the answers that you are expecting, but it's a good way to start. So once you have done that, you have taken everything, you recognize the club member engagement that you have taken part in, where the survey has, they have engaged in the survey, and then you can actually start to celebrate the harvest, which is going forward, looking towards it, bringing in new members, bringing vibrancy into your club, and taking it forward. I don't want to take much of the time talking myself, but I'd like to hear from clubs, especially some of the colleagues here who are from the Pacific Island countries, wanting to know about the challenges, what is the obstacle in bringing new members to your club, and how you think you will be able to overcome that. So can we have some participation from the members here today as to how you'd like to see the membership grow? Tanya, we can move it to the discussion slide.
I have a hand up from Paul there, if you want to unmute yourself.
Hi, thank you. Just want to make a comment about my club, which is Club of Taveuni in Fiji. We have a number of new members approaching us at the moment because we've come to an arrangement amongst ourselves as to funding their expenses as far as membership is concerned. It is the number one worry for us, and the reason why we are not progressing, and I'm hoping that you'll cover this in further discussion.
Thank you, Paul. Is there any more comments?
Vanita, is Vinod going to cover the role of Rotaract in developing membership? Is Vinod on?
Not at this stage, Craig, but I was thinking I would talk when Vinita is talking about it. So it's not in my slides, but just adding on to Vinita's slide, what we have observed is we have been trying to grow our membership for the last 10 years. We are able to grow our members, but at the same time, we are losing some members. And so Vinita has highlighted in her slide about member engagement. Unless and until there is engagement with the current members, there is a chance that we might lose them. So that was one point that I wanted to talk about it. Second was, are we, as Rotary, or why are we not talking about growing our other Rotary institutions like Rotaract and Interact. Because what we are finding is Rotaract is one place where there is considerable growth. At the same time, there have been changes in the Rotaract to the age limit has been increased. So can we all members think about in that angle of growing Rotaract along with Rotary? Anyone wants to have any comments?
Well, perhaps I can make a comment. This is a major initiative of this year, and as you can see, there's the 3 doors there: the blue for Rotary, the yellow for Rotaract, and the red for Interact. And as Vinod has touched on, we've been talking about Rotary membership for years, and that has not been working. And the removal of the age limit for Rotaract is designed to give clubs flexibility to deal with the situation that Paul talked about. So, Paul, if you feel that your own club culture is hard to change, which it often is, and establishing don't set up a sort of a satellite club. Set up a Rotaract club because it's a different price point, and meet with your Rotaract club together. Just allow your Rotaract club, on the other hand, to engage in the world of Rotary. Rotaract, sorry. Becky's on this call, and the Rotaract presidents. Becky can talk about it, but they have a World of Rotary Zoom session which is going on all the time. So there are different ways to do it. And the final thing is that just remember our own research in Rotary shows people join Rotary to change their own lives, but they only stay in Rotary if their lives have changed. And that sounds a heavy responsibility, but it is all about member engagement, and member engagement is not as difficult as it appears. Just if you can just remember to say, not only to your new members, but old members, what are you interested in? Because if with the Rotary Action groups and the Rotary Fellowship groups, you're bound to be able to involve them in something that they're interested in. And if it's peace, say, join the Rotary Action Group for Peace. The club doesn't have to turn itself inside out trying to meet every member's desire to serve, because there are 44 Rotary Action Groups that will enable them to serve. There are about 80 fellowship groups. So you can very quickly build better engagement by talking about that. And one of my pleas, which I made at the beginning of these seminars last week, is particularly in these troubled times, have a look at the Rotary Action Group for Peace. 2 members enables your club. It's not a lot of money to become a member of the Rotary Action Group for Peace. And if you have 2 members in your club, you can become a Peace Builder Club. Now, Rotaract and Rotary and Interact are all Peace Builder clubs. And so that's one thing where you can span across the clubs. And I'm hoping that a number of our clubs will say to some of their members, look, are you interested in peace? Let's get 2 or 3 of us together. We'll join the Rotary Action Group for Peace. We'll become a Peace Builder Club. There's a whole logos session that you can put on it. And that makes the members proud that they're actually doing something on one of the 6 areas of focus. And it is that simple. So look, thank you for the time on that. Sorry, I've taken up a bit of extra time there. I'll hand back.
Thank you. We've got some questions.
Benita, it's Michael here.
Yes.
No, thank you for that presentation. Now, being on the membership committee for a number of years, I think it's very important to also and we've also been talking about having quality members, okay? So rather than go for numbers, it's important to look at the quality and ask ourselves and ask the prospective members, why do they want to join Rotary? Because we've also found that a lot of members that we've inducted over the years, they come in for a month or two and then fall off. So yeah, so the lessons over here is that we need to screen our prospective members, and also maybe also just limit the number of members that we want in any one club, because it's better to have a more active, engaging membership than having a large number of, say, inactive members.
Yes, thank you, Michael. Yes, that's one of the challenges. I know it's in the Pacific, and I think it has worked very well for your club, Michael, where we see that, you know, we don't need to look at the number of members, but the quality of members and their engagement in the club. So yes, I think that model works. But if there is anybody who thinks that that model would not work with their club, we'd like to hear from them as well. Ursula, there's some questions in the chat. Do you want to raise them before we take any?
Thank you. Yeah, we've got a couple of comments here about, yes, exactly what you're talking about growth of the club versus the retention, and people sort of agreeing that retention and engagement is really important. There's also a comment here by John regarding a membership satisfaction survey, which he was inquiring about, whether we have one of those. If anybody is aware of that, please, yeah, chip in there. Yeah, we've got some comments from Peter about pairing up Rotary clubs with Rotaract clubs. Can members belong to both at the same time?
Can I jump in there?
Yeah.
Yes, you can become a Rotaractor and a Rotarian. You can have dual membership. One of our Rotaractors from my club, Sean, who's our president, is a dual member. And that's fine, but it only becomes a slight issue with dealing with things like My Rotary. But as far as Rotaract and membership goes, because Rotaract is now one of the club types, it means that it is it's an interesting way to engage some slightly younger demographics, but also work with a different group of people who might be focusing on different things. And as this year's Rotaract chair, I'd like to just say, while everyone's on here, our Rotaract clubs are in Fiji, the Cook Islands, Tahiti, and Auckland. And if any of you are interested in working in partnership with the Rotaract Club, would really like you to reach out. And we've had a couple of clubs reaching out at the moment to do projects with us. And we're really excited to see what we can do.
Thank you, Becky. Do we have a club here which has got a lot of young membership, and they could share their experience of what they have done to attract the millennials?
Just going to wait for anybody else to respond before I jump in. No hands raised there. Jerry, I'm just wondering if you wanted to speak to this. She's the incoming president of our club, Mount Eden Club, which it's a small club, but I think proportionally we have more millennials.
Yeah.
Are you there, Jerry?
Yeah, I'm there. I don't really know why though.
Well, I think millennials attract millennials to some degree.
Yeah,
I mean, most of the people that have come into our club have been friends of mine, or people that, I mean, not yourself or Ritra perhaps, but yeah, I think in some way, some sort of connection to Rotary has been the basis of our young membership. For example, most of us have done the Rotary Youth Exchange.
Yeah, and Ritra and I had both been in Rotaract, and then I moved to Auckland, and Mount Eden's like meeting time suited me best, and I knew Ritra. So
I think that connection is really important. Yeah. Knowing someone in the club who's also young, that you're.
Ursula, can I comment on that that you and Jerry have just highlighted? Rotaract, despite the removal of the age limit, is, as you can see, a pipeline to Rotary. The Rotaract has a very, very different environment and focus. So, as I said, if there's any club that's struggling with membership development, think about establishing a Rotaract club, because what you've seen here is both Jerry and Dr. Aritra Ray in the Rotary Club of Mount Eden came to the club from Rotaract. So that pathway, that pipeline, is not probably as well understood and formed as we'd like, but it certainly works and is possible. So yes. Here's a great example.
Yeah, but I think I do stand by that, that if this is what you're wanting to go with, millennials attract millennials. So I dare say that perhaps the club wouldn't have been as attractive to both Jerry or Aritra if it wasn't that there already were a number of millennials in the club.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Thank you for that. Just when I was, before I was preparing for this session, I actually spoke to some of the club presidents and some of the members about what they thought was actually the deterrent in bringing in new members. One of the major responses I got was membership fees. There's, you know, especially for the younger generation, the people who have just started work. Is there any view in those present today that that like to share the experience, and do you think that membership is a deterrent in some ways to joining Rotary?
Well, perhaps again, I can make a comment here. We have been emphasising in the communications for the clubs to look at as they call it, TCM, the total cost of membership. The club president-elects have got some guides on that, and we're working very hard to make sure that we do not increase any costs to the clubs. Obviously, that again, if you want a different price point, the answer is Rotaract. And there's a great example with the Rotaract Club of Nandi, where it's basically a group of young women who have children, and instead of having a mother's club, they've got a Rotaract club. Correct me if there's anything I'm saying that is not on message, Becky or Vanita, but that's been very successful. Again, if the total cost of membership is too high, then, you know, first of all, obviously you need to look at all your own club levies, because the other parts of it are baked in. But with Rotaract now heading towards paying very modest RI and district dues, there is that separate program price point. So if you're running into that, think about a Rotaract club, because that will result in, over the years, in growth of your own membership. Becky.
Can I please add on to you, Craig? Yes, the Nandi Club is one that has struggled in the past, and basically what they've done is they've revamped themselves, and the key members are all young women who are mothers. And they've created an environment where they can do projects that are based around things that they can get their kids involved in. We do projects like beach cleanups. We fixed up the Pacific Animal Shelter and Hospital in Nandi. And we do things that the kids come and get involved in. Even one of our very first projects was refurbishing the Nandi Dental Clinic. And the kids were there with us, learning how to paint and do things with us. And we have a lot of fun. And I think, sort of slightly different to what Michael was saying, if clubs that are trying to attract members and the member doesn't necessarily fit with that club, this is an opportunity for you to look at what other club they could be a part of, or having the potential to create a different club with a different dynamic, because not all people are going to fit into the club that's closest to them. I certainly don't. I drive all the way into the city to go to my meetings, as opposed to going to one in a different district, which is a lot closer. So it's the opportunity to create a club like a Rotaract club, which has a different dynamic that suits different people, or sending members to other clubs in the area. There's no reason that one person shouldn't feel comfortable in the Rotaract or Rotary environment. And because we have so many clubs online now, there's really no excuse to sort of turn a member away.
Thank you, Becky. I think we'll give the opportunity, sorry. Deepak.
Yes, yes. Just a few comments. Firstly, membership induction is probably a reasonably key area. I've always maintained, I've seen this happening. We bring a member, make them a member. They actually haven't interacted much with the club members by that time. They don't even know what the club's all about. And we're sometimes in a hurry to get the person to become a member. Sometimes they don't even know what their financial commitment is. It hasn't been really explained to them because of the speed with which people are actually being impacted. I keep telling our members that the way to start is to invite somebody. Don't even mention membership. You're just taking somebody to a lunch meeting or something, or a fundraiser. And you have to observe how they interact with your club members. Do they seem to be getting along? Do they, are they interested with the members there? And after a couple of meetings, you should make that observation, and if they have a good time, but they should, by that time, be able to understand that there are some costs that will be involved. A lot of people haven't realized, and then when they start looking at the costs that are coming in, then they sort of like go back and disappear from the scene. So you have to be careful. The other one is you have some members who are not active, but when required, they are there. They will take on projects and they will do a lot of things, but they may not be interested per se in meetings. So when we keep saying about meetings, that's okay. We have members who do projects, but they're not regular meeting attenders. So there's a lot of different kinds of people that you have to allow for. You cannot, we had a president who was a very big stickler for meeting attendances. And at that time, we lost a few people who were good. They used to come to meetings, but they're very helpful with projects. They put a lot of effort in, collected big amounts of money when they took on those projects. So it's a little, you have to be a little bit flexible in terms of that. Very important to make sure that the person is a fit for your club. Because if he isn't, and what happens is you lose the Rotary mojo. Somebody is actually thinking of coming in and then they get disillusioned. They may give the wrong impression to other people about Rotary itself. So we have to be a bit careful.
Thank you, Deepak. Tanya, if you can just quickly go to the slide where we have the courses for people who would be interested in taking any online courses on membership. And then we will move to Vinod. So the courses are all available on Rotary.org in the Learning Center. There's about 5 or 6 online courses that will help you if you're not familiar with membership. Try and go and do those courses. And I think the discussions today have given us a lot of food for thought, and we can think about that, discuss that with our board, with our club members, and move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Vanita. Yeah, that has been a good discussion. And yeah, I'd like to introduce Vinod now to take over.
Hold on for a minute. We do have some other bits that I think are important to include. I'm going to just skip a few of the slides. One of the things that is about club development, which has a lot to do with membership. And, when you think about something like the RIP, President-elect Holger Knack, he talked about that Rotary is not just a club people join. It's what it is. It's an invitation to endless opportunities. And I think that is an important thing to remember when we're thinking about club development. I'm not going to go over the first two bullet points, but one of the things I think we do need to consider when we're looking at wanting to increase and boost membership to our clubs is the need to embrace innovation and diversity, and really looking to see, do our club memberships represent the populations that we're working in, and do we have underrepresented groups being welcomed into our clubs, and how are we changing our culture to make it possible for there to be more diversity in our clubs. So that's something I think is really important. I think the next thing is that we have the opportunity to be very flexible now in Rotary with how we organise ourselves and how we work and operate. So we were just, Craig mentioned about Rotaract. If we want to, boost membership, Rotaract clubs are growing like Topsy. So we need to take advantage of that. Satellite clubs still do work. There is an opportunity to have online clubs, which we've now found, is possible through COVID-19 and what happened to us and going online. There's also an opportunity to, as I think Craig mentioned earlier, to set up a club based on cause. It could be climate change, for example, or peace, and that will attract specific types of members. We have to kind of adjust and make sure that we're adapting to what the varied needs are of the people that are prospective members. Again, not losing sight of the fact that you've got to keep your current members engaged. So I'm not going to move into any discussion, but I just wanted to make those points that diversity matters, inclusion of all sorts of people matter, and so does flexibility. We're allowed to be flexible. We can create the way we want our clubs to be. So I think that's something to just add to the importance of membership. There's discussion there, but I think we're going to run out of time, so I want to move straight to, and a lot of that's already been covered in the previous, in Vanita's session. So I'm going to move now to Vinod's presentation. Over to you, Vinod.
Thanks, Tanya. Next slide, please. I'm going to talk about Club Runner. I'm sure everyone is aware that they can go to the Rotary org, and most of the clubs can enroll themselves for this Club Runner app that's available both online and on your smartphone. It's not a very expensive affair. I think every club needs, the cost is around 500 New Zealand dollars. If the number of members in your club is less than 40, probably it's slightly more if the members, the number in your club are more than 40. The picture of the app, in case you're downloading, is as it's seen on the screen. The biggest advantage of this Club Runner is people of late are using more of the phone, a smartphone, to connect to each other. Can you go to the next slide, Tanya? Yep. So these are the once you have downloaded your the app on your smartphone, you would have a username and password which can definitely always be given to you by the club president or your club secretary. Once you have downloaded this, you would have all the features of this app on your phone. Basically, it would give you a list of all the members in your club with their contact details, their phone numbers, their birth dates. It would also give you the list of all the executives in the club, who are the board of directors, who's looking after what. And the biggest plus point is, I think, the club stories. Of late, we have find we do a lot of projects, but we don't let the world know about what projects that we have done. So you can take pictures, you can write stories, and all this is available in this club stories and club events. The other feature about this Club Runner is it's not only about your club, it's also about your district. You literally can have all the club district executives the events and stories that's happening in your district. So literally all, like even if some project is happening in Fiji, I can go on my Club Runner and have a look at it as to what's happening. So this is basically awesome features that are available in Club Runner, but these features are of no good unless and until it's of some benefit to you. So the question then comes to, Tanya, can you go to the next slide? The question is then, how can it benefit your club to grow? How can it benefit your club to function smoothly? How can you take advantage of this awesome app that we have? I would want members to actually think about it and raise their hands and let me know if you can think of some other benefits that this Club Runner can provide. Over to you guys.
Thanks, Vinod. Yeah, just opening that up for people. From what I can see, there's not many people responding to this one. I'm wondering whether, oh, hang on, we do. We have Crystal with a hand up, so feel free to unmute yourself, Crystal.
Hi. One of the things that the Club Runner had helped us with, I'm not sure if the free app does this, but the full Club Runner, is it gave us a place to store and manage our shared club documents, so that if something happened, a president left early, or even change of executives, there was always the place that had your important documents, project documents, and strategic planning, everything.
Okay, so the continuity of the information remains through this app. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, yeah, it can be very, very important for handovers. I've been in previous clubs where literally my role, I took on a mess. So many things were missing. The running of the club administration was a mess. And so I actually used the Club Runner, got us on Club Runner, and not in my current club, my past club in a different country actually, and found all the documents and got them in there, and became a very valuable tool for us also to obviously to highlight our stories and projects, and also to use the group email function that I found very useful as well.
Awesome, thank you, Crystal. Really great to hear your examples there, and if anybody else has other examples, please just raise your hand. Just to go onto the chat here, we've got a comment from Colin or Beryl saying that the Club Runner is very useful on your mobile phone because you can easily get contact details of your fellow club members and others in the district. And then another question we have, not sure if you can answer this one, Vinod, is around Club Runner being replaced in a year or so?
Yes, that is true. That is true. But until that happens, Club Runner is a great tool that you can use. And there is a discussion happening. There's a lot of actions happening to replace this, wherein a app which is similar to Club Runner, but it's working under ERP, where you would have all the information about what donation you have given. A lot more information would be available in the other app. But until that happens, Club Runner is still a very good tool to be used for the club's benefit.
Agreed.
And in the chat, we've got some examples also of membership, associate membership fees, retired membership fees, and full membership from Steve. So there are options out there. There's that flexibility around membership for people.
Can I ask, please, we're having discussions at the moment as a club whether to retain Club Runner. Are we able to use the Club Runner at district level instead of having to have a club access?
Yes. The answer is yes, Philip. Yep.
Thank you, Craig.
If no one has any questions, I think that would end my session.
Oh, great, thank you. Vinod, I will, sorry, screen's just going a bit haywire at the second. I'll just ask somebody else to pop up that link to the evaluation form while I draw it to a close. Thank you very much to Tanya, Vanita and Vinod for a really engaging session on membership. I found that really interesting. And yeah, thank you very much for all working together as a team. It was really great to see the different sections. Hope everybody had a good time listening to that and participating. We will be putting the video on online somehow. That's right, John? For people to download the video at some point?
The video will, all the videos will be uploaded, yes.
Great, cool. All right, well, thank you very much to all, and we will hopefully